So, ang topic natin na ngayon ay spiritual self. So, ayon kay William James, yung spiritual self daw is ito yung bahagi ng pagkatao natin. Which is ito yung pinaka-panloob at pinaka-personal na aspeto ng sarili natin or na pagkatao natin. So, ito yung mas malalim kaysa sa physical o panlipunang anyo. So, ayon kay William James, yung spiritual self is tumutukoy siya sa kakayahan natin mag-isip ng tama at mali. Dito rin tayo makakaramdam ng konsensya at magpapakita tayo ng matibay na kalooban. Ito din yung bahagi ng sarili natin na humahanap ng kahulugan sa buhay natin or dito rin tayo nakakaranas ng kasiyahan sa moral na pag-unlad. So, for example, kapag may tukso na or naisip mong gumawa ng mali pero mas pinili mo pa ding maging tapat or mas pinili mong hindi gawin yung naisip mo, is ito na yung gawa ng spiritual self mo. Okay? Next is religion. So, pag sinabi nating religion by Rebecca Stein 2011, so religion is a set of culture beliefs and practices that share key traits. So, first one is belief in supernatural beings. So, pag sinabi natin belief in supernatural beings, ito yung religions often believe in gods, spirits, or other unseen forces. So, for example, Christianity believes in God and angels. So, dito, sa beliefs in supernatural beings, is naniniwala sila sa mga hindi natin nakikitang nilalang. Okay? Naniniwala sila sa Diyos or sa mga anghel. Next is reverence for the sacred supernatural. So people show deep respect or worship toward divine beings. So here, for example, Muslim pray 5 times a day to honor Allah. So dito, may mga Muslim daw is nag-pray daw sila na 5 beses sa isang araw kasi nagpapakita sila ng matinding paggalang or pagsamba sa Diyos or sa tinatawag nilang Allah. Okay, next is presence of supernatural power in beings and objects. So, here, it is a certain people or items are believed in to hold divine power. So, for example, shamans are taught to channel spiritual energy. So, here, may ilang paniniwala din mga tao or bagay ay may kapangyarihan daw mula sa espiritu or mula sa shaman sila. Next is rituals involving sacred objects. So here it is a ritual use sacred items to connect with the divine. So for example, Catholic use holy water during blessing. So 'di ba, yung mga pare is gumagamit sila ng holy water para magkaroon tayo ng blessings. Ayun yung sa mga Catholic, ayun yung ginagamit nilang ritual upang makipag-ugnayan tayo sa Diyos natin. The next is narrative that express worldview and moral codes. So here, it is a religion tells stories that teach values and explain life. So for example, the story of Buddha teaches compassion and detachment. So here, dito na mapasok yung kung paano tayo natuturuan ng mga aral ng mga God natin. Okay? So next is social bonding, control, and explanation of the unknown. So it is a religion helps people feel connected, guides behavior, and explain mysteries. So for example, indigenous rituals strengthen community ties and explain natural events. So here, um, pinapatibay daw ng mga ritual or katutubo na ang samahan ng mga komunidad natin. So dito, nagpapaliwanag sila ng mga likas na pangyayari. So dito, ang social bonding is yung mga religion or religious na yung mga tao na magkaroon daw ng pagkakaisa or magabayan daw sila sa mga asal. Okay? Next is rituals. So, pag sinabi nating ritual, rituals are ceremonial action based on tradition or sacred rules. They are repeated practices that have special meaning for a group of people. So, dito, ito naman yung mga tradisyon or banal na batas natin, which is paulit-ulit siyang ginagawa kapag and so also pag may special na kahulugan ito para sa mga tao or sa group of people, okay? So for example, ito naman yung mga wedding ceremonies, baptism, graduation rites, pagmamano sa mga tatanda, simbang gabi. So, ito yung mga ritual na example. So, dito, di ba, yung tradition natin sa Pinas is, or sa Pinas ngayon, pagmamano sa matatanda, which is to give respect. So, simbang gabi naman, ito naman yung nangyayari ngayon since malapit na yung Pasko. So, ito yung mga paulit-ulit na ginagawa ng mga tao. Okay? Ito yung mga rituals. The next is rituals are universal and define human behavior. So here, it is a ritual exists in all cultures and help shape how people behave and relate to one another. So ito naman yung mga culture na tumutulong hubugin yung sarili natin sa mga asal. For example, shaking hands when meeting someone. Di ba kapag may nakikita tayong hindi natin kakilala or kapag may mga gathering is nagkakaroon tayo ng shaking hands, gano'n. Then sa bowing in Japanese culture naman, tinamay nangyayari sa Japanese, which is kapag nag-say sila ng thank you is instead na magki-thank you lang sila through words is nagbabow din sila. Then saying po and opo in Filipino culture. So, ayun nga yung sabi ko, kaya sa pagmano, ito rin yung sa pagpo and opo natin sa mga tatanda, which is to give their respect. Okay? Next one is that we have a three key traits of rituals by Penner 2017. So here we have an emotional response to the sacred. So it is ritual create strong emotions like awe, respect, or devotion. So dito, ito naman yung matinding damdamin na paggalang natin. Okay? Or for example, feeling solemn during a funeral, feeling peace while praying in church. Okay? The next one is dependence on myth-based belief system. So, it is a ritual are connected to stories or belief that explain their meaning. So, here, ito naman yung mga paniniwala or kwento na nagbibigay sa atin ng kahulugan. So, for example, Holy Communion based on Christian beliefs, offering food to ancestor based on traditional beliefs. So, next one is symbolic meaning. So, it is the objects and action in ritual represent different ideas. So, here, ito naman yung mga action or mga bagay na ritual na mas malalim pang kahulugan. Okay, for example, wedding rings symbolize eternal love. Candles symbolize hope or prayer. So, sa wedding rings, nag-symbolize siya na love mo yung isang tao. While the candles, it symbolize hope or prayer. Diba kapag for example na lang sa Baklaran, di ba may mga candles doon? So, pwede kayo magtirik ng candle doon. Free lang siya. So, doon, magtirik ka ng candle, then, pwede ka na mag-pray or magtirik ka ng candle for peace ng mga namatay mong kamag-anak or families. Ganon. The next is ritual mirror language. So, here, ito naman yung ritual are like language because both use symbols and follow rules that people agree on. So, dito, ito naman yung mga ritual na wika natin. So, dito, gumagamit tayo ng mga symbols and sumusunod tayo sa mga patakaran or rules. So, for example, kneeling shows respect, standing during the national anthem shows honor. So, dito, di ba, kapag narinig natin yung national anthem natin is to give respect is kailangan natin tumayo lamang sa kinakatayuan natin. Then, lagay yung kamay sa dibdib. Tapos, ayun. Hanggang sa matapos para magpakita ka ng respect or honor. Okay? The next is participating in ritual express religious beliefs. So, here, by joining rituals, people show their faith and beliefs. So, dito, pagsali sa mga ritual ng mga tao. So, dito nagpapakita ka ng mga pananampalataya or paniniwala. Okay? For example, attending Mass every Sunday, fasting during Ramadan, pagkaan, tuwing Kwaresma. So, dito, attending Mass every Sunday. So, di ba, every Sunday is yung mga simba. So, dito, kapag sumasali ka sa ritual na yon is nagpapakita ka ng pananampalataya or paniniwala. Sa fasting naman during Ramadan, ito naman yung sa mga Muslim, kapag ano na nila is kailangan nilang sumunod or kailangan nilang mag-fasting. So, para may pakita nila yung pananampalataya nila sa ala nila. The next one is Buddhism. So, Buddhism is we have a beliefs, custom, practices. Sa beliefs, we have a life involves and frustration. So, dito, Buddhism teaches that suffering called dukkha is a natural part of life. Pain, loss, and dissatisfaction happen to everyone. So, for example, feeling sad after losing a loved one, stress from work or school problems. So, here, ito yung mga normal na nangyayari sa buhay natin. Or, ito yung mga nararanasan natin, katulad ng mga sakit or pagkawala or pagkabigo natin. So, dito, for example, kapag pagod ka, ganon, ito yung mga kadalasang nangyayari sa atin or paulit-ulit na nangyayari sa atin. So, next is people fall into reactive cycles or of craving and aversion. So, here naman, people suffer because they desire things too much or strongly avoid unpleasant experience. So, dito, nagkakaramdam lang tayo ng pagturusa dahil sa labis nating pagnanasa or matinding pag-iwas sa mga hindi naman kanais-nais na karanasan or experience. So, for example, wanting money or success endlessly, getting angry when things do not go your way. So, yung mga example. So, next is this cycle can be broken through meditation, wisdom, and acceptance. So, here naman, this cycle can be broken. So, here, suffering can be reduced or ended through meditation, wisdom, acceptance of reality. So, dito, ito naman yung pagdudurusa natin or pagtanggap natin sa mga katotohanan. So, for example, learning to stay calm during problems, accepting challenge instead of resisting it. Okay? Next one is custom practices. So, we have two types of meditation. Samatha, which is sitting calming meditation. So, Samatha focus on calming the mind through breathing and loving kindness. So, ito naman yung nagpapakalma sa isip natin gamit yung mga paghinga natin or pagmamahal natin sa kapwa. Ito yung sa paghinga na inhale, exhale. So, di ba ginagawa natin siya kapag gusto natin ipakalma yung sarili natin. So, kailangan natin mag-inhale, exhale. So, example naman, deep breathing meditation, sending kind thoughts to others. Ayun yung sending kind thoughts to others ayun yung pagpapakita natin na pagmamahal natin sa kapwa. The next is Vipassana, which is ito yung insight meditation. So, Vipassana helps people understand reality clearly by observing thoughts and feelings. So, dito, tinutulungan na tayo ng Vipassana na maunawaan yung katotohanan sa pamamagitan ng pag-iisip natin or pagmamasid ng isip natin and also yung damdamin natin. For example, noticing emotion without reacting, understanding impermanence or walang permanente. Next one is wisdom through Buddha's teaching. So, ito naman yung study the teachings of Buddha to gain wisdom and guide their lives. So, dito, pinag-aralan natin yung mga aral ni Buddha upang magkaroon tayo ng wisdom and guide sa buhay natin. So, for example, reading Buddhist texts, listening to monks or teachers, okay? Last one is every Buddhist practices. So, dito, Buddhists express their beliefs through daily mindfulness and meditation. So, here, pinapakita ng mga Buddhista yung paniniwala nila sa daily or para-araw nila na pagninilay nila or pagiging mulat sa kasalukuyan nila. So, for example, ito naman yung mga meditating daily, being mindful while eating or walking, ganon. Okay?
Ano nga ba ang Budismo o Buddhism? Ang Budismo o Buddhism ay isang relihiyon at filosofiya na nagmula sa India. Mahigit 2,500 taon na ang nakakalipas. Ito ay itinatag ni Siddhartha Gautama na kilala bilang Buddha na nangangahulugang ang nalinuwanagan o The Enlightened One. Itinuturo ng Budismo na ang buhay ay may pagdurusa at ang pangunahing sanhi nito ay pagnanasa at pagkakapit sa mga bagay. Gayunpaman, naniniwala ito na maaaring wakasan ang pagdurusa sa pamamagitan ng tamang pag-iisip at pamumuhay. Isa sa pinakamahalagang gawain sa Budismo ay ang meditasyon, lalo na ang samatha, para sa pagpapakalma ng isip at vipassana para sa pag-unawa sa realidad. Mahalaga rin ang karma kung saan ang bawat mabuti o masamang gawa ay may katumbas na bunga. Ang layunin ng Budismo ay makamit ang Nirvana, isang lugar kung saan malayo sa pagdurusa at puno ng kapayapaan. Ang Christianity o Kristyanismo ay isang relihiyon na nagsimula mahigit 2,000 taon na ang nakakalipas at nakabatay sa buhay at aral ni Hesus Kristo. Naniniwala ang mga Kristiyano sa iisang Diyos at itinuturo ang pagmamahal, pagpapatawad at pananampalataya. Ang Biblia ang kanilang banal na aklat, gabay sa pamumuhay, layunin ng Kristyanismo at kaligtasan at buhay na walang hanggan sa pamamagitan ng pananampalataya kay Hesukristo. Ang Hinduism naman ay isa sa pinakamatandang relihiyon sa mundo at nagmula sa India mahigit 3,000 taon na ang nakakalipas. Naniniwala ang mga Hindu sa karma, reincarnation o muling pagsilang at dharma o tamang pamumuhay. Marami itong Diyos at Diyosa, ngunit itinuturing ang lahat bilang anyo ng isang pinakamataas na realidad. Ang layunin ng Hinduism ay makamit ang moksha o kalayaan mula sa siklo ng muling pagsilang.
So good day everyone, I am Adrian Ebier and we will be talking about the Judaism, which is the last religion that we will be tackling. So Judaism is one of the oldest religion in the world. Jews believe in the God of Abraham, who helped free the Hebrew people from slavery in Egypt and led them to the promised land called Canaan through Moses and Joshua. This belief gives Jewish people a strong sense of identity and purpose. They also believe that in the coming of the Messiah, a Savior who will bring peace. Another important part of Judaism is the Torah, which is their sacred book. The Torah serves a guide for their daily life and teaches moral values. Studying and understanding the Torah is very important in Jewish culture because it helps people know how to live a meaningful and responsible life. Judaism also has many customs and practices that give meaning to everyday life. Some of the major festivals include Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, Passover, which remembers freedom from slavery, Shavuot, which celebrates receiving the Torah, and Sukkot, which reminds people to be humble. Another important practice is the Shabbat, which starts every Friday evening. Family rest, eat together, and reflect. These practices show that meaning comes from faith, family, and community. Now, moving on to our next topic, which is the finding and creating meaningful life. So, meaning is not something that automatically happens. People create meaning through their experiences and choices. One person who focused on this idea is Dr. Viktor Frankl. He was an Australian psychiatrist born in 1905 and studied medicine in Vienna. When he was young, he wrote letters to Sigmund Freud. Later, he worked in hospitals and helped prevent suicide. Dr. Frankl survived in the Holocaust, where he experienced extreme suffering. During this time, he noticed that people who had a reason to live were more likely to survive. Because of this, he believed that meaning is very important in life. He wrote about this in his book, Man's Searching for Meaning, which is still used in schools today. He died in 1997, but his ideas are still important. So moving on to the logotherapy. Logotherapy is a theory created by Viktor Frankl himself. It says that human motivation is driven by the search for meaning. According to this theory, meaning can be found in three ways. First, by doing something meaningful, like studying, working, or helping others. Second is by experiencing relationships or events, such as love and friendship. Third is by having a positive attitude toward unavoidable suffering. So those are the three ways on how can meaning be found. Logotherapy also teaches us that suffering can be turned into something meaningful. It encourages people to use mistakes or guilt as chances to improve themselves and to see that life is short. So we should act responsibly and make good choices. So in conclusion, Judaism teaches meaning through faith and tradition, while Viktor Frankl and logotherapy teach that meaning is created through our actions and attitude. Together, these ideas help us understand how people find purpose in life and understand themselves better.
So, good day everyone. I am Pearl and today I will be reporting about logotherapy and Franklin psychology by Viktor Frankl. We have here basic concepts of Franklin psychology. Logotherapy believes that life has meaning in all situations, even in suffering or hardship. According to Viktor Frankl, the main motivation of human beings is the will to find meaning, not pleasure or power. He also believed that each person also has the freedom to discover meaning in their own life. No matter the situation, we are free to choose how we respond. Now, the goal of Franklin psychology is to help individuals become aware of their spiritual strength, make this strength conscious and usable, use the deficient power of the human spirit to face difficulties. Logotherapy explains that a human being is made up of body, mind, and spirit. The body and mind are what we have, but the spirit is who we are. Life always has meaning, even during painful experiences. This meaning is called ultimate meaning, which goes beyond human rules. Humans are driven by the will to meaning, and we are free to choose our attitude even in suffering. Life also demands a response from us, and meaning can be found in our daily choices. Each person is unique, and meaning is different for everyone, depending on how we respond to life's changes. Now, the last part, Franklin's three sources of meaning in life. First is purposeful work. Meaning can be found through goals, tasks, or responsibilities. For example, teachers find meaning in educating students, and artists find meaning in creating art. Second is courage in the face of difficulty. Meaning can be found when we face suffering, pain, or loss with courage and hope. Lastly, love. Love allows us to truly understand another person's inner self. Viktor Frankl himself found strength through his love for his wife during his time in the concentration camp.